Today we're going to look at the few inspiration and things that you can do in your BR Island maps that maybe just make your map a little bit more custom. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. Number one on the list is healing when you hit props. Actually, if I want to be completely honest, this could be so much easier, but we're missing a very important device to make this happen, which actually is in normal Fortnite Creative, but not in Fortnite Creative BR. And for that, we just have to use a substitute until we get the device. It makes it so much easier. But the main thing that we need to create this is the tracker. And as you might have guessed, we also need to add the stat to track prop destroyed. So that means we can decide when we destroy props that we give it a value. For example, we want to have 3 props destroyed. So we just type in the target value of 3 and then we link it up to classes. Classes have the nice benefit that if you have a class selector in here, you can see you can have the option to restore health and shields. Obviously, this fully restores everything. You can obviously make this also as custom as you want. For example, if you go in here, so you can go in here and, for example, make this like custom health amount or something, which makes it a little bit more complicated, but you can technically do that. So after you set up your tracker, which is all these settings over here, we want to set up 2 class selectors and obviously 2 class designers. This one is for healing you and this one is for going back to normal. Obviously, that does also mean that you cannot have normal classes in your game if you want to use this system. Hopefully we'll get the health device in the future, so we can avoid this system over here, but right now you have to do it with this one. And basically what this does is that this class is going to fully restore your health, and this one is just resetting everything, so you can basically hop in between these 2 classes to restore your health. And we obviously also need the class selector to apply these classes. To apply these classes, obviously all you have to do is make sure that the first one, which heals the players, is selected to a tracker, and then when completed, so that means when we complete all of the 3 props that we have to destroy to get healed, we get the class selector 1 selecting the class 1. And then after that, obviously immediately the class has to be switched again, so we can repeat the process over and over again and we are not stuck on class 1. So all you have to do for that is obviously go into your class 2 selector, so make sure that it's set to class 2, it switches to class 2, make sure that the health restore is to none, so otherwise it would double here, which we don't want. And then make sure that as soon as the player changes to class 1, it directly changes to class 2, which then obviously allows us to send another signal. And make sure that our tracker actually gets reset to make sure that we can re-heal ourselves if we actually destroy 3 props or whatever custom number you want to put in there. So, but what you can also do is not only leave it to props destroyed, but you can change it to whatever makes sense here. So for example, distance traveled. So for example, if you want distance traveled, so we want like a player to travel 100 feet and then they can actually get to restore their health. So for example, we set this to 100 instead of 7, for example, so like that. So now the player has to travel 100 meters and we can leave the same system to heal us. Another system for custom loot is actually using the tracker as well. In the tracker, there's an option to have chests opened. Quick disclaimer, this does not work if you go into your options over here and put in loot controller and then you go into no loot. This will not work because you cannot open the chests, you can only destroy them, so it doesn't work. The thing I would recommend going if you want to have like some kind of custom loot in your chests is to actually put this to uncommons, so you'll only get green weapons, which most people don't want anyways, and then you put the cool stuff into the custom things that you can set up in the tracker. So what you then obviously have to do in the tracker is make sure that the stat to track is just opened and then only to 1. So every time you open a chest, you can give a player some custom random loot. So what you can do here is just put any weapon into the item granter. You can actually put multiple weapons in there as well, and it will still grant a 1 random weapon from the item granter then. And then basically we have to do the same thing as we did before. We need to make sure that obviously that the tracker sends a signal to the item granter, so the item granter actually gives the player a gun. And obviously all we have to do for that is make sure that when the tracker is completed, so that means if someone opens 1 chest, we just go into the item granter and make sure that the item gets granted. And that's basically the most easiest way in how you can create custom chest loot. Obviously you can go a little bit more advanced and also reset the process, so you actually every time a player opens a chest they get random loot. For that you obviously need to make sure that you reset the progress in the tracker as well, so you go into the tracker as well. Make sure that the reset progress is on item granter and on item granted. So this basically means we complete the challenge. That means opening 1 chest, we get granted an item, and the item granter sends back, resets the progress, and we can do this over and over again. And now if we open one of the chests in game, we should get the Cobra DMR in every chest because we only have this 1 item. So there it is, Cobra DMR dropped, and also we get the random common item that we normally get. We can obviously continue this and still open chests, and we'll still always get the Cobra DMR because we only have this one item. However, you can customize this to your liking and grant as many items and randomized items as you want to. And these are my 2 things which I think can spice up your games a lot and can be very customizable. So with that being said, see you guys in the next one, and bye.